looks like.
Ah! No hat!
Does it not have... Whoa.
His head just looks like it has a hat on it.
How is he winning without the hat?
Well, they have a loss, so...
Good point. There you go.
You know.
That explains that. Aaron Barich, Gregory Stiver, and Nathan Fountain are on your left. Nolan Schmidt, Roger McFann, Mark Leander are on your right. Players will shake hands. Great sportsmanship. And we are underway. And the taste of that chip is still lingering in my mouth.
And it'll be there for a while.
That's
one of the better parts about vinegar.
That's the worst part.
It sticks around. Yeah. You know, okay, I'll tell you what. One of my favorite drinks is called pickleback. And it's when you do a shot of whiskey and chase it with pickle juice.
Ugh.
It just eliminates the whiskey taste right out of your mouth. And also you get to drink pickle juice.
That's called like a pickled pony or something?
The pickleback.
Yeah, pickleback. Not to be confused with Nickelback.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I'm not going to go into a Nickelback rant right now.
Good.
Don't
I
worry.
didn't. No one wanted you to.
I'm not going to. They're secretly not that bad of a band.
That's fine. Look, I've had a lot of eye-opening experiences lately when it comes to hating on stuff. I used to be a Nickelback lover and then a Nickelback hater, and now I just recognize them as a band that is good enough to have survived for roughly 2 decades.
Which is a lot.
That's a ton.
That's a long time.
Clearly, people like their stuff.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about Guy Fieri. You know, why would you dump on a guy just for doing what he loves?
I like Guy Fieri.
Yeah, there was a stand-up bit, a comedian whose name I forget, just did a whole thing about why would people hate on Guy Fieri? He literally just does things he loves
He's actually
and
just super nice.
Just gives all of his money to charity and stuff. And like I believe one of the stories was he donates popcorn makers to inner city schools in order to help them run fundraisers by selling popcorn.
Yeah,
he just donates them.
He's like super nice.
Yeah,
yeah. I used to actually like his cooking show Triple D. He had like He had like a 30-minute cooking show on the food. I don't think it was Guy's Big Bite, but he had like some little show that I used to watch during college. And I don't know, I thought it was pretty good.
I mean, I pretty regularly watch Guy's Grocery Games.
Is that like New Age Supermarket Sweep?
Yeah, but they also cook, and it's great.
That's fun.
Yeah, they have to make the meals out of their stuff, and then they get judged.
Just for
by the guy.
Anyone who's watching right now that runs a TV station like ABC or NBC, I'm just saying there's money. There's money in a remake of Supermarket Sweep. Like a lot.
Maybe.
Like a lot.
You know.
Like I'd want to be there trying to only get 5 turkeys and 5 roast beefs. I had a strategy for the game.
I'm pretty sure Supermarket Sweep is basically just late stage capitalism.
But maybe, but you can only get 5 of each item. That's all I know. And I had big plans if I ever got on the show when I was a kid.
I'm just going straight for the filet mignon.
No, they don't have that.
Okay, whatever the most expensive meat is.
That's the turkey.
Yeah, that's fair.
But they're heavy, and then you have to go get another cart because they're so big. So there's strategy involved. You get the meat last.
Wait, can you drag two carts with you at once?
No, that's cheating.
Tilt.
You can only take one.
All right, we got some magic going on here.
Sylvan Library is being forceful. That's what's going on.
All right, so Force Will here from Nolan. You know, the Infect deck does play stuff like Daze, so if he had a Daze there, I think he probably would have used that, just kind of snapped it off. Sylvan Library being a pretty sweet card here. It's going to be a resource battle for sure.
Well, Glistener Elf is not exactly where you want to be when you're seeing a young Pyromancer on the other side of the battlefield.
Absolutely not.
It's not ideal. Here's a Brainstorm. We're going to get another Elemental token here. Ross Merriam Elemental token. One of the newest. Had a lot of Elemental tokens here on the SCG Tour. Chris Vandermeter, Dylan Donegan as well. Ross Merriam, the newest of the bunch, as Nolan is going to put 2 cards back here in just a moment. This Glistener Elf, unless something shows up that makes it unblockable, like Apostle's Blessing, Artful Dodge, Distortion Strike, stuff like that, and those are cards that you don't generally see in the Legacy version of Infect. Berserk could be good too.
I mean, Berserk plus Pump Spell is almost always lethal. So, you know, obviously if you don't have Berserk, something like Glistener Elf, not nearly as good. But, you know, if you draw Berserk, basically any 2-card punch will kill them.
No, I think you're happy now to have a Blighted Agent. This makes it a little bit easier. And Aaron Barich already has a copy of Invigorate in hand. It looks like a Vine to the Vastwood as well.
Yeah, it's really tricky to play around this kind of stuff from both sides. Like the Grixis Delver deck, if they have something like Lightning Bolt or Dismember, they don't want to play EOT tapping out to get hit with a Daze. But at the same time, you know, they might run into something like Spell Pierce if they don't. So it's this weird dance. They have to try to play around as much as they can. I think Nolan needs to kill this Blighted Agent right now, though, or there's a good chance he just dies next turn.
Well, you've played some Infect in your day. I know that. This deck doesn't mess around. There's a copy of Dismember. Is it appropriate for Aaron Barich to try to fight around this is the question.
Oh, absolutely. The Glistener Elf is being bricked pretty hard here, and I think you have to try to use Vines to save it.
You want to use Vines, or do you want to use Invigorate?
I think Vines just because it costs more mana, and you can still cast the Invigorate if the Vines doesn't work.
Well, I only asked that question because, you know, if you're going to search up a land here, play Vines, it means you're playing in a daze, where if you just cast Invigorate, you're not playing in a daze?
I mean, that's reasonable, but if, you know, I don't know. I like being a little more mana efficient from this side. There was a spot where Nolan could have dazed the Sylvan Library instead of forcing it. So that's definitely something you need to consider. He didn't daze on that turn, so he probably doesn't have daze. But it looks like he drew one off the Brainstorm.
And yeah, now he can't fight over it.
I mean, he still could have.
I guess I'm so stupid. It's Invigorate +4/+4. We're
You're
done.
killing me.
That's my fault. That's my
you
fault.
You walked me into one of the dumbest rants of all time.
That's my fault.
Thank you.
It's that chip, dude. It's that chip. It's destroying my mind. Why did I think this member gave -4/-4?
This block here is... I don't know if I agree with that block.
Well, I don't know what's the plan.
He just has to find Berserk. He has a Ponder and Invigorate. He could just find Berserk and the game could be over.
All right, well, here's the real big fish. This game's over in 2 turns here for Aaron Barich. What's the draw? Well, if you know you're going to draw Blighted Agent, that's a good block. Here's a Ponder. 1, 2, 3. Daze, Ponder, and Misty Rainforest.
I think here Aaron's going to shuffle this away. He basically just wants to find another pump spell because he needs to just play the Blighted Agent, hope it doesn't get countered, hope it doesn't get killed, and then find another pump spell and win the game next turn.
Gregory Steiger wins game number 1 over Roger McFann. Black Red Hollow won up a game over Mardu Pyromancer. A little update to our scoreboard there. I'm with you. I think he does need to shuffle. I just can't think. I can't think that a redraw with Ponder is going to be the winning solution. But
I mean, this actually might be better. So now he can go Ponder. So he kept the land and he has another Ponder on top, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this way he plays around Daze this turn, and the next turn he gets to fetch and then Ponder.
Okay, so 3
he
new
gets
cards.
3 fresh instead of 2 fresh.
Okay, and then and then if he shuffles, brand new card. Okay. I think playing around a Daze there is actually pretty nice too. So
yeah, he could have went backwards. Like he could have played Blighted Agent and then Ponder.
Sure.
But unbeknownst to him, his Ponder would have been hit with a Spell Pierce.
All right. So Nolan's going to shuffle with his Ponder. New card coming here in just a moment. It is, of course, a mystery.
Nolan just desperately digging for a means of interaction against that Blighted Agent. A Lightning Bolt, not quite enough because Aaron does have Invigorate to protect his Blighted Agent.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Puts you to 4. All right, pass the turn back. Ooh, okay, so down to 4. If he fetches, you're not playing around Bolt in this instance anyway, right?
No, you can't. Also, I think the Bolt would have main phase targeted Blighted Agent.
Yep, I agree with you.
It's important to main phase things like Lightning Bolt against Infect decks because the pump spells will oftentimes protect it. And if you do it on your opponent's turn, not only do they get to protect it, but they get to utilize that burn spell as a means of actually killing you. Like the pump spell can save their creature and deal you more Infect damage.
Uh-huh. All right, Aaron's going to keep with the Ponder. He didn't fetch beforehand. He's going to fetch now. Down to 3.
That was do you got Bolt?
The answer appears to be no. Brainstorm, Invigorate in hand.
Yep.
I think the winning combination here is just a Another Invigorate. I mean, there's a couple winning combinations, obviously.
Well, Nolan has a Spell Pierce in hand, so if it's anything other than Invigorate, there's a chance that Barich loses anyway.
He found a Berserk.
Well, he found a Berserk in a land, but he has to put 2 back.
Has he played a land yet?
No, but he has to put 2 back.
He has to put 2 back.
He has to put 2 back?
Yep, it's a Brainstorm, homie. Yeah. Yeah, you got to put 2 cards back, my friend. There we go. Now you can try to go for the win, but it's going to get stopped by Spell Pierce. There's Invigorate. Yep, you can.
He's going to pay 2 for that. And
yep.
But then he can't cast
He can't cast a Berserk. Correct. So, Nolan Schmidt is going to win game number 1 here over Aaron Barich. Grixis Delver up a game here over Infect, and these players will go to the drawing board. And we'll get an idea of what they're working with as we go to Barich, our invitational champion, who's got 2 Flusterstorm, 2 Dismember, 2 Surgical Extraction, and a whole bunch of 1-0s. And Hydroblast, Sylvan Library, Dissenter's Deliverance, a Viridian Corruptor, a Crow's and Grip, a Force of Will, a Submerge, a Pithing Needle, and a Relic of Progenitus. Talk to me.
So, Relic of Progenitus is okay here. It helps slow down Gurmag Angler, which is one of the better clocks from the deck, and it cycles. I think you're going to have to try to play for a longer game. I like trimming on things like Force of Will and bringing in things that do something plus draw a card. I think Sylvan Library can come in. The matchup's going to be a little more grindy from the Grixis Delver side. I think they're going to be less reliant on pressure and want to do more things like cast removal spells and discard spells. Flusterstorm's okay. Dismember, I think, is also okay, but not great. And then Hydroblast, I think, is good because it can effectively counter a Lightning Bolt or just buy you a lot of time by stopping a Young Pyromancer.
Other side of things here for Nolan Schmidt, 3 Surgical Extraction, 2 Pyroblast, 2 Abrade, 2 Thoughtseize, a Fork Bolt, a Flusterstorm, a Bitter Blossom, a Liliana, the Last Hope, a Hymn to Torak, and a Sulfur Elemental. What do we like here on the Grixis Delver side?
Again, I like becoming more of a control deck. That means siding out some of your threats in favor of removal. I think Delver of Secrets is likely the worst threat because it can be traded off pretty easily with Inkmoth Nexus and like a Pendlehaven if they want to. I really like Pyroblast as a means to stop Brainstorm. Brainstorm is one of the best cards out of Infect, and because they, you know, a lot of decks, if you hit their Brainstorm, they still have a bunch of Ponders and Preordains, and they have a lot of redundancy. But Infect can flood out a bit because they're playing Noble Hierarch, and they have, I think, roughly 18 or 19 lands. They have a lot more mana sources than like a traditional blue deck. And Brainstorm keeps them from flooding out pretty easily. So I think having Pyroblast is great. Abrade is okay, just as another removal spell. Fork Bolt, obviously very good. I like Flusterstorm to help win counter battles. Bitter Blossom is okay too because it can brick wall every single Inkmoth Nexus that comes at you. Liliana Last Hope, obviously a slam dunk because every creature from Aaron's side has 1 toughness. Hymn to Torak is okay. And if you're siding into a more controlling deck, all of these elements can work together to basically grind out the Infect deck.
Well, those are the options there for both players. Game number 2 will be underway here in just a moment. We mentioned that we talk about Aaron's beautiful token, and we will right now. He won our Season 1 Invitational Weekend at SCGCon earlier this year off the back of Mono Red in Standard and Infect in Modern. He wanted to be a soldier with his hat, and a soldier he is. You can also see the colors of the vest that he is wearing in line with his 504 MTG jersey. You can, of course, win and get yourself a receive a limited invitational token with all open and classic entries beginning at the Dallas Open.
That's today.
August 18th and 19th. Hey, everybody here got one. And all orders from StarCityGames.com beginning July 27th, which was not today. $5 minimum order on that. Congratulations to our Season 1 Invitational champion, Aaron Barich. He wanted to be a soldier, and he got to be one. He earned it, winning that Season 1 Invitational earlier this year. Game number 2 about to be underway here in just a moment. Quick scoreboard update. You'll see the Barich is down 1. However, his teammates are doing just fine.
I'm so mad this keeps happening.
Why is that?
Because I want the match we watch to have weight.
It does.
Yes, but when the person who loses ends up winning anyway, it just feels weird.
It's just all part of team tournaments, man.
I understand.
What can you do?
I understand. I'm just saying. I wish we were watching one of the other matches that, like, you know, like I want to watch all of the winning games from the winning side of the team and all the losing games from the losing side of the team. That's not always possible, especially because we want to watch usually the bigger named player, and Aaron did just recently win Invitational, and he's been kind of killing it lately.
What if Roger and Mark both win their games and then Aaron wins a game? Then what would you want to do, Todd?
I don't know.
Then what? And then Gregory loses, and then Nathan wins, and then Aaron, we see him attack for lethal because he peeled a Become Immense.
What if?
What about that?
What if he loses game 2 at the same time that his teammates win game 2?
That's incredibly unlucky. That's it.
Okay.
Super unlucky.
Okay.
That's all you can do.
All right.
We're running a small unit here. We're gonna watch Nathan Schmidt and Aaron Barich do their thing, and we'll see what happens. Maybe we jump around to another one.
It's like Nolan's on the mulligan here. This is a pretty big resource battle. And if both players take Force Will out of their deck, because it's going to be a lot of one-for-one trades, every mulligan matters a lot.
Remember the time you had me eat that chip on air?
No, elaborate. I don't recall.
I can't get it out of my mouth.
You know what will get it out of your mouth?
Not another chip.
No, pickle juice.
No, stop.
You ever seen Major Payne?
I have. That's a good movie.
So there's one quote from that movie that I'll never forget.
Okay.
It's there's a guy who breaks his arm or hurts himself like pretty bad. No, sorry, he gets shot. He gets shot in the leg.
Oh, excuse me. He gets shot.
He gets shot in the leg, and he's staring down at his leg. It's this hurts so bad. Have you ever been shot? This is awful. And Major Payne walks up to him and he grabs him by the hand. He's like, "Son, you're gonna be okay. I'm gonna take your mind off the pain." And he's just like, "Okay." And then Major Payne just breaks his finger.
Okay.
So he looks at his hand. And he's just not thinking about that shot leg anymore, are you?
Yeah. So is that what I'm supposed to do here?
Yeah, break your finger.
Break my finger?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you'll not think about that chip anymore. Either that or you'll have a broken finger and vinegar mouth.
And a horrible mouth, yeah. I don't like this plan at all. Not one bit, actually. Not one bit. All right, Aaron's going to scry, keep it on top. Nolan? I think. Okay, here we go. We got the goal ahead. It's a Pendelhaven, and it's a Glistener Elf. See if this resolves. I see a Force of Will in hand here for Nolan Schmidt. Not sure if he wants to use it or not, though. All right, pass turn back. Let's go back over to Nolan Schmidt.
I think it's important to note that a lot of times when you're playing a deck with Noble Hierarch, it is almost always correct to lead with said Noble Hierarch. However, in a deck like Infect, a lot of times playing your creature on 1, your Glistener Elf, allows you to get an extra point of Infect when you do play Noble Hierarch on turn 2. It's a pretty big deal.
Sacrifice a Windswept Heath, Will Barich. I imagine a breeding pool is on the way. Or not breeding pool. What's wrong with me? Tropical Island. Bit better. I'm so used to watching him kill people with modern Infect. Well, you might see Hierarch now and a Pendelhaven activation, getting some real amount of Infect here. Barich with a Brainstorm in hand, along with a Wooded Foothills, and I believe another copy of Glistener Elf. Aaron's deciding exactly how he wants to move forward on this turn. He'll attack, trigger, activate Pendelhaven. It'll be a 3/3 that's coming in here.
Yeah, that's almost a third of the amount of Infect damage he needs to deal.
Well, Force of Will is the reveal off the Delver, which means we already know that Nolan had a Force of Will in hand. Aaron didn't know that. Now he knows for sure that he does, so he'll have to try to play around that accordingly.
Yeah, I mean, if Nolan doesn't have Young Pyromancer, Glistener Elf is actually not that bad in this matchup. Yeah, of course, if they play a Gurmag Angler, it can kind of brick wall it. You usually have to play or have like a Noble Hierarch or Pendelhaven plus a pump spell to get through. But if Nolan's just sitting on a bunch of counter spells and ponders and stuff like that, this Glistener Elf could just chunk in for 3 again. That puts him all the way up to 6. And then Aaron can play another Glistener Elf and just threaten lethal pretty quickly. Next turn, the 3 attack plus something like Invigorate could also just be lethal itself.
Here's a Ponder to start. I'm curious if Nolan Schmidt is supposed to attack with this Delver or not. Now that it's transformed, it can trade.
No, because it becomes a 3/4.
1/1, 2/2. Yep, you're right. I would attack them.
I've played quite a bit of Infect. I know me some Pendelhaven.
Yeah, I would attack them. Didn't you win an open with Infect?
In Modern, yeah. I got top 4 in Legacy with Infect, and Brad got second.
Lost to
Chihoy in the finals. I actually just was so mad because Brad beat me in just a very high variance mirror. Like, there's not a lot of back and forth in Infect. It's basically like, do you have vines to stop me from killing you, or, you know, do you have the turn 2 kill or whatever? You know, there's obviously some play with counter spells and such, but Brad, you know, game 2 or game 3 or whatever, just played Spellskite, and I just didn't draw a way to kill it, and I lost.
Yeah, you did.
Guess who put Spellskite in that sideboard?
Anyone who's played Infect before, dude.
No.
There's you?
It was me.
Okay.
I built Brad's deck. He copied my list.
Well, Brad always just comes out one step ahead. It's Brad Nelson, man. Who's probably at home watching this right now. Hi, Brad. Hey, buddy. Brainstorm. 2 cards going back. What's Chihoy doing these days?
He still plays every now and then. I think he got married.
Yeah, that's game.
Oh.
Chihoy is really good.
Being married's pretty great.
Yeah? If you learn how to put the toilet paper roll on right.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
You're one of those guys.
You don't think I forgot? Yeah, I'm an over, not under guy. Like the rest of the world.
You know who's an under guy?
Who?
No one. There's over guys and people who don't care because it's stupid.
Why don't you put that poll up later?
Nah,
I didn't see you put that poll up after you got called out on Twitter.
I don't know, man.
Well, Gregory Stiver is going to win his modern match over Roger McFann. Black Red Hollow One takes care of Mardu Pyromancer pretty quickly. So the team of Barich, Stiver, and Fountain are up a match.
Yeah, honestly, I think the Hollow One deck's just a little too fast for Mardu Pyromancer. We saw at the Invitational recently there was a bunch of Hollow One and a bunch of Mardu Pyromancer, and we just saw Mardu get kind of smushed all day because their Fatal Pushes, their Lightning Bolts just don't really line up well against the creatures from Hollow One.
Yeah, plus, you got Bloodghast and Flame Lake Phoenix causing some problems there, too, and their removal has a hard time killing Hollow One and Gurmag Angler. It doesn't seem like it's ideal.
Exactly.
For the Mardu Pyromancer players. Flusterstorm in hand here for Barich. True name Nemesis. Hello.
Well, that's the one. That's the end. Unless Barich draws another, I guess he can't even beat I guess he can beat the Force of Will with the Flusterstorm. He needs to draw Blight Agent right now.
Yeah, that's pretty important now. This game just got a whole lot more difficult for Aaron Barich. There's a Tropical Island.
Yeah, he really needed to get a little lucky on that Brainstorm last turn and try to find a kill spell to do those last 4 points. Even though Nolan had the Force of Will in hand, the Flusterstorm maybe would have done enough, but since he missed on the Brainstorm, he's going to come up a little short.
Well, found a Blighted Agent. Found a Blighted Agent and wants to be able to play it with Flusterstorm available, which okay. Okay, he's gonna play Wooded Foothills first.
Yeah, I think you want to keep the Pendelhaven untapped. There's always the threat of something like Fork Bolt to really ruin your day. I think it's important to note that Nolan did not try to force will the Blighted Agent. So to me, that signifies that he likely has something in hand to directly target it and wants to fight over Aaron's protection spell. But that could get a little risky because of how Flusterstorm works.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised they didn't fight over Blighted Agent itself and is maybe trying to fight over the pump spells or something else. It's got a pretty, I mean, 2 Force of Wills. Doesn't look like a ton of other blue cards in hand, however.
No, I think he's got Gurmag Angler and maybe a Flusterstorm of his own,
And
but I'm not positive.
Picked up a copy of Young Pyromancer.
Yeah.
There's Flooded Strand. And now there's Fatal Push.
Yeah, we're going to go for a protection spell here, and this is just going to work. This Flusterstorm is just going to work. Now, the problem here is that Barich still has to win through Force of Will, countering a pump spell. But he still got him on a 2-turn clock with just Blighted Agent plus Pendlehaven and the Noble Hierarch. So a Noble Hierarch should do it. Any pump spell will do it, except through Force of Will. So, I mean, all these cards, like, Nolan can counterspell all of them, right? But he still has to actually win the game. I think there's a pretty easy attack here. The true name, ooh, I thought it already resolved. Excuse me.
Well, I guess not. Is this good for Nolan?
No, because Flusterstorm was for, oh, no, so Flusterstorm was for 2, because, I think, because he, no, it was for 3. This is just a pretty big blunder here. I think that there's just a little bit of a lack of communication.
Yeah.
So there might be a little bit of allowing a takesies backsies, which I'm okay with.
And now Gurmag Angler. Okay. Well, we know the last 2 cards in Nolan's hand are Force of Wills. Let's see what the draw is.
That's weird. I was going to say, he started, you can't get that one to cast Gurmag Angler.
Here's a Ponder. There's a Stifle in that Ponder.
Yikes.
Looks like he's going to keep. And now here's a Brainstorm.
Yeah, Nolan could think this might be bait, but I think Force of Willing it is exactly the right play.
He's just showing his hand right now that I have 2 Force of Wills.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Noble Hierarch.
He forgot to put 2. Come on, man.
This is the second time he's done that.
Oh.
It's not Ancestral Recall. All right. Force of Will there. Play a Glistener Elf. All right, that's going to do it. And the reason because Nathan Fountain actually won his match there over Mark Leander. So that means the team of Barich, Stiver, and Fountain able to win this match over Schmidt, McFann, and Leander. So, in fact, Black Red Hollow 1 and Esper Control victorious, Todd.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I think Hollow 1 just a decent deck against Mardu Pyromancer. A lot of their spells just don't line up well. Esper Control versus Red-Black Aggro, I'm actually pretty surprised to see that. I know that whenever I play a really